Yeah. So in yesterday's session, we completed receivable setups up to customer creation, right? Now we'll see how to create the Remito address. What does it mean by Remito address? As a supplier, when we want to send any bill or say invoice to our customer, we have to provide our address to customer so that customer can send the payment to that address. That address only we call as Remito address. Remit address is nothing but supplier address to where customers has to send the payment. So that address we have to create. When you create the transaction, the receivables, this address also we can print and we can send to the customers. Customer will remit the payment to this address. In their books, they will record this address as a pay side. Okay. In payables, we created supplier and we created address and we created site against that. This address only, ideally that's there it can be created by customers as a pay sites. So let's see how to create the Remito address. Go to implementation project. Search for Remito addresses. The task name is manage Remito addresses. Here is the task, say go. And say create. Use Remito address set, nothing but reference data set. You can select common. And you may write address like one, say, okay, Remito address. Select postal code. Yeah. Say save and close. Done. Open this again. Okay. Now find the same whatever we created. We created for US. Search. So this is the one which we created, right? Select it. Sorry, it is Lex. This is the one. Amex. Select. Here click on create. That means, so this is the address where we receive the payments. Receipts from criteria. We receive the payments here, but from which countries and which states we have to specify. Click on create. Okay, this is the remitter address where customers has to send the payment. This is our address, and we receive the payments from customer for from which countries and which states. that we have to specify. So you may select specific state or else you can just leave it. Okay, from that state only, from that state customers only we receive the payments to this address. So that's how you can define the remitter address, and you can set you want to use that remitter address for which country customers. Still, if you want to specify within the country, which state customers also you can set. Done. Next step is memo lines. Okay. So what are the items we have in the inventory? Those items you can access when you create the transactions in the receivables. Say you are selling iPhone to the customer. Yes. When you create the transaction in the receivables, you can select item called as iPhone and you can create the transaction and you can bill to the customer. And you may deal with the services also. So the services and all you can create by using the concept called as memo lines, or you can call as standard lines or memo lines or standard memo lines. Okay. So to create the services, we can use the memo lines. When you are going to provide some service to the customer, that service you can select within the transaction. If you create the services with the help of memo line before you create the transaction, simply you can say we can use the memo lines or standard memo lines to create non-inventory items. When you say non-inventory items, ideally those are services. So we'll see how to create the memo lines. Here search for memo lines. Here you can see the task next to this remitto addresses. Manage standard memo lines. This is the task. Click on go. Say create. Select reference data set as a common. So memo line name. So just I'm giving training. The same you can take as a description. And this memo line you can assign to business unit. So system will derive the revenue account also from here. The auto accounting for we set auto accounting for two accounts, receivables and revenue. For revenue, you can select the source as a memo line also. When you create the transaction, if memo line is there, take revenue account from memo line. That's how you can set in the auto accounting role. Okay, here since we loaded that information through rapid implementation, system is taking this account also. You can say save and close. So this memo line we can use at the time of transaction creation. If item is available, if you are just billing to the customer against the items, select item. If you are billing to the customer for this training, you can just select this memo line. So that's how you can create the transaction. Just remember what purpose, how to create memo line. When you start working on the transaction part, we can understand. And receivables activities. In receivables, whatever we do, all we call as activities only. Creating the transaction is one activity, creating receipt is another activity. These are the different activities which you perform. But these all are very primary activities. Apart from that, there are a few other activities which we can record separately, like discount. So giving discount is one activity, and giving refund to the customers is one activity, and whatever customer has to pay, if customer is not paying, the bad debts that we call as bad debts, closing that amounts we call as a activity. So this all you have to create separately as the receivable activities with the relevant accounts. So whenever you perform that activity, the amount will go to the relevant account which is available in that activity. Say customer has to pay 9,000 and customer paid 10,000. Now if you are going to refund that 1,000, the 1,000 should be maintained under which account? Customer refund account. Where we have that refund account? That you can create by using the receivable activity. Say you are giving the discount to the customer. How much discount you are giving to customer, how to maintain in the system with the account. Where we can maintain that account, the receivable activity. This is how for specific activities to maintain the account, after that to take those amounts under those accounts, we can use the receivable activities. Here as of now, we have to create the two activities. Later we'll create many activities based on the concepts which we are going to work. To complete the basic setups, minimum two activities we have to create. Those are earned discount and unearned discount. Earned discount and unearned discount. Okay, earned discount, unearned discount. So what does it mean by earned discount? We are acting as suppliers. We'll have a customers. Say we inform to our customers if they can pay in 10 days, we are ready to offer the discount. Say one customer paid within 10 days. Now we have to give the discount. So customer is paid within the discount period. Discount period is 10 days. The discount terms are 10 days. If customer is going to pay in 10 days, we are ready to give the discount. That's what we inform. Customer paid within 10 days. Now we have to give the discount. The discount we call as earned discount. We inform to the customer within 10 days we will give the discount. But customer paid after 10 days, say 11th day. Still, if you want to give the discount, what are the discount we give that we call as unearned discount? Okay, customer did not get any eligibility, but we given the discount. That we call as unearned discount. So when you are giving the discount, what discount you are giving, accordingly system will capture the amounts, the discount amounts into relevant accounts. For that, we have to maintain those two different accounts, earned discount and unearned discount accounts separately with the help of receivable activities. Okay. Within the discount period, if customer is paying whatever the discount we provide, that we call as earned discount. After discount period also, after discount terms also, if customer is going to make the payment, still if you want to give the discount that you have to capture as a unearned discount. Okay, for earned discount and unearned discount, we have to create the receivable activities. Okay, two receivable activities we have to create, one for earned discount, second one for unearned discount. So go to receivables activities task. Okay, go to receivables activities. We have a task called as manage receivables activities. Click on this. Okay, here is the task. Click on go to task icon. So you can check with our business unit. So we didn't create any receivable activities, right? You can click on search. So there are many receivable activities created for our business unit. Okay, many are already created. Now you can see system created on discount. Okay, on discount and on discount receivable activities, and the accounts also system picked for this, and for this account picked system picked, and few receivable activity system created, but there is no account. You can see here for all these no account code combination, only for on discount and discounts. Okay, system is defaulted accounts also. These you can use directly, but we have to understand how to create those. Whatever system created, let's ignore this earn discount and unearned discount, and we will go and create. Click on create. We have to understand how to create. For that reason, we'll create new. Select business unit. Amex US business unit. Amex earn discount. Here select activity type as earn discount. Okay, select activity type as a earn discount. System is defaulting the on discount account since we loaded accounts through rapid implementation. You say save and create another. Now select our BU. Create one more receivable activity for unknown discount. Activity type is unknown discount. Just save and close. Done. This is how we can create the receivable activities. As of now, these two are enough. Going forward, we'll create different receivable activity for refunds, write-offs, etc. Now we can create a receipt class and a receipt method. So receipt class and method. Here in the transaction type, if you want to create the transaction type is required. In the same way, if you want to create the receipts, receipt class and methods are required. Without receipt class and method, you cannot create the receipts. What you can set within the receipt class and method. So how you are creating the receipts? Whether you are going to create receipts through manual process or automatically, and the receipts you are going to send to bank or not for remittance. I mean to say clearing. Once you receive the payment from the customer, you will send that payment to which bank, which account, okay, and whether you do the reconciliation or not, And how do we get the payment from customer? That you can set with the help of this receipt method. Okay. So the complete receipt process we can define with the receipt class. Simply you can say the receipt process can be defined with the help of receipt class and method. How we are receiving, okay, reconciliation is required or not, whether we are going to create receipts through manual process or automatically. Once you get the payment from customer, we will take that amounts into which account. That could be cash or check or anything, which account we want to take. So all the details you can set. For transactions, we can define the transaction process with the transaction type. The same way, the receipt process we can define with the help of receipt class and method. Okay, receipt method is nothing but how you are going to receive the payment. And with the help of transaction source, you can generate the numbering for the transactions. With the help of receipt source also you can do the same. Number you can generate. Reality, okay, we don't need to generate any number with the receipt source. When we get the payment from customer, the check number and all we have to enter in the system. So we don't need to auto generate the receipt numbers. Okay, but we'll see that receipt source. We have a batch functionality for receipts. There it would be useful. Normally, if you are going to create single receipt, okay, there the source is not mandatory. We'll see those. Okay, we'll see. First, we'll see how to create the receipt class into method. So here we can define the process of receipts, how we are going to create receipts. Okay, other information also you can set. Search for receipt classes and methods. Receipt classes and methods. Manage receipt classes and methods. So manage receipt classes and methods. Click on go to task. Say create. Here we can give the name, the Amex receipt or Amex standard. Okay. You can give the name as Amex standard receipt class. And within this receipt class, how you are going to create the receipts? Through manual process. Okay, manually we want to create receipts. We can create the receipts automatically. For that we have a separate concept. When we deal with that concept, we can create the receipt class by selecting automatic. So once you create the receipts, do you want to remit the receipts to bank or not? Remittance method. Yes, we want to remit. Select remittance method as a standard so that you can remit the receipts to bank. Clearance method. Whether you want to do the clearing of the receipts, yes, we want to do the bank statement reconciliation. So whenever you select receipt remittance method as standard, it is defaulting by magic. Accept it. That means we want to do the reconciliation, bank statement reconciliation for receipts. Yeah. Now, how you are going to receive the payment from the customer, that you have to create here as a receipt methods. Click on add, place cursor in this record. Here you can say receipt method. Amex check. The same name system is copying as a printed name. Okay. So we get payment from customer the form of check. Once you get the check payment from customer, you want to deposit those checks in which bank account, that we have to specify. Here we have a remittance bank accounts. Click on add. Means to which account you remit that check. You transfer that check. So first select business unit. Select bank account. Bank branch account. Amex Bank. Select account. We have only one account. The same we can select. Okay. So this all account system is filling because we loaded data through rapid implementation. And here you have to select earn discount and unearned discount receivable activities, whatever we created just now. Select those. So this is system created, but this is the one which we created for our practice purpose. Earn discount. Makes earn discount. So in the receipt method, okay, the receipt class we are creating receipt method. The receipt method we are selecting earned and unearned discount receivable activities. Now say save and close. Okay, say save and close. Done. We created a receipt class. Within that, we created a method called as check. That method we assigned to our BU, as well as to the same method we assigned bank account details also. Along with that, we selected earned and unearned discount receivable activities. That's all. Now, source is not mandatory to create the individual receipts, but for batch receipts is required. Anyway, we are going to work on receipt batch functionality also. Let's create the receipt source. Ideally, this is for number generation, but we are going to enter number through manual process. When we get the check from the customer, we have to enter the check number as a receipt number. So no need to generate any number, but this will be useful when we are dealing the receipt batch functionality. Okay, receipt batch. So there it would be useful. Let's create it. So receipt source. Here we create a transaction source for number generation for transaction number. This is for receipt number. So we have a task called as manage receipt sources. Click on go. So create. We want to create receipt source for which batch. Select batch and name. Yeah. Amex manual receipt source. This is the name you can use. And you can set receipt class and method as a default. We create a receipt class just now. Amex standard method check bank account. Means if you use this receipt source, automatically system will default these details. If you want to change, you can change. Okay, everything we set type manual. Your number generation also manual. Say save and close. For individual receipts, this is not required. For batch receipts only, it is required. We'll see that. Okay, anyway, we created receipt source. Say save and close. Now we have to assign the roles to user. So we have seen for GL we assign the transactional roles. For payables we assign the transactional roles to create the transactions. The same way for receivables also we have to assign the receivables seeded roles. Same. They are seeded roles. Right? Go to, if you want to assign the roles, we have to go to security console. Tools, security console. Go to users. Our user is next. Just click on edit, add role. Okay, search for accounts receivable manager. Assign. Let's make a note. So search for account receivable specialist. Okay, select the same. Click on add. Note it. Now search for billing manager. Okay, billing manager. Actual name is billing manager. Here they just given as segregated role, but reality actual name is this. No issues. You can choose the same. But remember, as a role name is billing manager. So other role would be billing specialist. Okay. Don't make a note as billing specialist segregated role. Just you can make a note as a billing specialist. That's all. Add it. Just ignore the term called as segregated role. This. And other role is just search for collection. These agent you can select. That's right. And one more role is you can just search for revenue analyst role. That's right. Okay, these are the basic roles which are required to work on complete receivable functionality. So if you want to go and compare how these first two roles are different or else how this manager role is different from accounts receivable manager is different from billing manager, these are all you can compare in the security console. Already we have seen as a part of payables how we can compare one role with another role. By using that functionality you can check. Now these are the 6 roles we assign to this user. Then we have to assign the BU to these 6 roles. Okay, we'll go and see that. So done. So save and close. Okay, what are the roles we assign to this user for receivables purpose? For those roles, we have to assign the business unit. How to assign the BU to role? By using the task called as data access for users. Okay. So now we can navigate to search page. Click on task list. Click on search. Or you can go to project house. The task name is data access for users. Manage data access for users is the task. Click on this. Say create. Select username. Select receivables roles one by one. Accounts receivable manager. Contest is business unit. The BU name is Amex US Business Unit. Click on Add. Accounts Receivable Specialist. Select Business Unit. Click on Add. Okay, select User Role and View. That's all. So now we can select Billing Manager. Contest is Business Unit. Contest value is BU name. User is Amex. The next role is Billing Specialist. Select Business Unit. Just click on Add. Right, we have two more rows. To those two rows also we have to map our business unit. So select Collections Agent. Contest is always BU here. Select BU name. Okay, for receivables, all the rows, contest is BU only. Revenue Analyst. Okay, done. For the 6 rows, we assigned a business unit. Say save and close. Done. Now you can submit LDAP job. Go to Tools, under Tools, go to Schedule Processes. Click on Schedule New Process. Search for LDAP. So this is the job. Retrieve latest LDAP changes. Select and save OK. Save OK. Submit. OK. Fine. So it will take some time. So We assign the roles, we assign the BU to all the roles, we submitted LDAP. Now we have to open the receivables periods. Okay. Still it is running. At least we have to wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Let's try sign out and sign in. I will try to access receivables related pages. Now we have to open the receivables periods. To open the periods, go to Navigator. And here you can see receivables. Expand it. If the rows are synchronized properly, we will be able to access to those relevant pages. Otherwise, once we click on the task, it will bounce back. We'll see, we'll try. Now click on Accounts Receivable Task. Under Receivables, click on Accounts Receivable Task to open the receivables periods. Click on this. Let's hope the rows are synchronized, including the BU. Yeah. Now you can go to task list. Scroll little down. We have a task called as Manage Accounting Periods, the receivables periods. Okay, Manage Accounting Periods. Click on this task. We open the periods for payables. The same process we have to follow for receivables. Here, application is receivables. So we have to go to our primary ledger. To primary ledger only, you can see as our BU is associated. We open periods for primary ledger for receivables. For receivables, how many business units we have for all those periods will open. See here, Amex USA primary ledger. With this primary ledger, one BU is associated. That means we are going to open the periods for that BU by opening the periods by selecting this ledger. Click on Amex USA primary ledger. So in the receivables, we not yet opened any period, right? So as per our accounting calendar, what is the very first period that you can select as the first? Say okay. Say yes. Just refresh. Now you can see as per our accounting calendar, which is there in our primary ledger, in that the very first period is open. Jan 21, the period status is open. Now we want to open the December period. Without opening previous periods, we cannot open December. So select current period as a target period. Already Jan is open. Feb, March, April. That's how all the periods it will open in the sequence. Finally, it will open the target. So go to actions. It's not new. What we did in the payables, we are doing for receivables. Say open target period. What is our target period? Target period is nothing but current period. December. Say open. Yes. The process is submitted. You can see the status as a open. Just wait for a second. Now you can see December 21, the period status is open. That's what we need. Yeah. So we completed these setups also. and we open periods. Now we can work on receivables to create the transactions, receipts, and various functionalities what we have in the receivables. We'll see one by one. First, we'll see how to create the transaction in the receivables. Transaction means invoice transaction. What does it mean invoice transaction? Nothing but sales invoice. Okay. We discussed in the O2C cycle. Once sale is done by sales department or order management, we have to create the invoice in the receivables to bill to the customer. How to create the invoice in the receivables based on the sales order that we'll see in the O2C cycle. Now what we are going to do is how to create the transaction directly in the receivables. In payables also we have seen how to create the invoice directly in the payables. Later we tested how to auto create the invoice in the payables based on the receipt, how invoice can be created by matching with the PO, how invoice can be created by matching PO and receipt. We tested all the scenarios. The same way, first we'll create the transaction directly in the receivables. Later we will see how to create the transaction based on the sales order. Okay. This is what we are going to see. First, we'll see how to create the invoice transaction. Invoice transaction is nothing but sales invoice. Okay, when we are acting as the suppliers, when you do the sales activity, we have to send the bill to the customer. Okay, then the same we are going to see how to create the bill, how to create the sales invoice, or simply you can say invoice transaction. Okay, we'll go to see that. So go to Navigator. This you can say done. We go to Navigator. Here we have receivables, expand it. Under receivables, we have a task called as billing. We have to bill to the customer. We have to send invoice to the customer. Right? So click on billing task. It will take us to the page where we can create the bills, sales invoices. This page you can call as billing workbench or transaction workbench, where we can create and manage the bills or transactions. Now go to task list, click on create transaction. Okay, click on create transaction. As a part of payables, we completely one setup through profile option, default business unit. For this user, we set business unit as a default as Amex US business unit. Reason, from this user, if you are trying to create the transaction, if BU field is available, it should select Amex US business unit only. Click on drop down, many BUs access this user got, because this user got access to application implementation consultant role, but system is defaulting Amex US business unit. The reason is already we have set default business unit as a Amex US business unit for this user by using the profile option as a part of payables, right? The same is applicable here also. If you want to create the transaction, yeah.
Sir, under task list, the tasks are showing are based on the role assigned, right, sir?
Yeah, based on the roles. We
Okay.
assigned receivables roles, right? In those roles, what are the privileges we have? Those accordingly it is displaying all the task list. Yeah. See, second. Is all it is showing because of that. Again, if you go to billing or accounts receivable, in that billing also, what are the list it is showing? These all as per the roles which are assigned to this user, which are belongs to receivables. Yeah. What it shows in the navigator, what shows in the task list, all because of roles what we assign to this user or receivables related roles. Yeah. Say create transaction. Now, when you create the transaction, system has to generate transaction number. So you have to select transaction source based on which transaction you are going to create. So here select transaction source. We have a transaction source called as Amex invoice. Within the transaction source, we have a transaction type called as Amex invoice. Select transaction source. Within the source, whatever the type is already assigned, that system will select. At the time of transaction source, we assign transaction type to source and we give a number generation, right? So whenever you select the source, system will default transaction type, which is already associated with the transaction source. Now we have to select the customer here. The customer is Amex. Type just Amex, you don't need to type the full name. Use tab, it will fetch. Use tab, it will fetch. Sometimes you may get experience system doesn't fetch. In that case, only the reason what you have to think is whatever the reference data set you are using at the time of customer's creation that is not matching with business unit level whatever you have. So that is reason as a part of setups we completed that, right? We created our own reference data set that we assigned to business unit. By using the same, we created customer site or address. So whatever we have at BU level, whatever we have at customer site level, both are matching. That is the reason we are able to get the customer at the time of transaction creation. If you don't find your customer here, you have to think on that point only. Two levels, if you don't have a same reference data set, you cannot find the customer here. That's all. Okay. Now we are going to bill to the customer. For what purpose we are billing to the customer? Say we are selling iPhones to the customer. Okay. Here we have to select the iPhone. If you want to select iPhone, here our inventory organization we have to map to this business unit per receivables that we have to complete. Then we can find the items here. Now if you see here, we can search item number. What is item number? Amex 1001, right? Search. Okay. So this is the item. How it is coming here? Just go to system option. Go to system options. System options. So manage receivable system options. Click on go to task icon. Select our BU and find out. Select this record. Click on edit or else you can directly click on BU name. Scroll little down. Here we have to specify the item validation organization. Okay. Item validation organization. With this, you can limit which items should be available for our business unit to create the transaction. So, okay, this is the Amex. You can set this so that within this item master inventory, what are the items are available, only you can access. Okay, you should set this. Okay, there could be a number of inventory organizations, but you have to set which event related items you want to access over. You have to set.
Is this a new functionality as compared to EBS or
In EBS also we does the same. No difference.
okay.
EBS also the system options you have to select item validation organization. In EBS, sorry, not in the system options, we can have an OM parameters. In OM parameters, we have to select this. Okay. EBS also we have to set, but through OM parameters, order management parameters, we have separate setup. But in Fusion, what they did is instead of in the OM parameters, they give it directly in the receivables only. That is the difference. But here and there, the common point is we have to set inventory. That's all. Just set. Done. So this is how we have to map our inventory organization to our receivables application for specific business unit, so that when we are going to create transactions, we'll be able to access that inventory specific items. So now go to transaction creation page, billing, task list, create transaction. Here you can type Amex. The source is Amex invoice. It will default type automatically customer. Type Amex, use tag. It will fetch customer details and go to lines. Here search for item Amex. Use tab. It is fetching. Okay, it is fetching item. Else I'll click on search. So this is how it shows the item. Already I just search. So this is how you can search for item. Select and save. Now we are going to create the invoice, or we are going to bill to the customer for how much quantity, say 5 quantity, unit price is $1,000. That's all. Now you can click on save. We configured auto accounting, right? In receivables, we configured auto accounting. When you create the transaction, system has to take receivables and revenue code combinations. Based on that code combination, you can generate the accounting entries. Now you can go to actions, click on edit distributions. You must save the transaction, already we saved. Say yes. Now see, the receivables account code combination and the revenue account code combination system is taking from auto accounting. In auto accounting rule, we provided receivables account code combination and the revenue account code combination. The same system is taken here. Okay. The save and close. In case of payables, from where it takes debit and credit accounts, we know. Expense account takes from the distribution. If you create invoice through matching, it will take from the purchase order. If you just for every invoice, it takes liability account from the common options. If it is available from supplier side, it will take from side and it will just display in the header of invoice and the payables. But here, it directly taken from auto accounting rules. Okay, auto accounting rules. Now we can submit this transaction for accounting. So if you want to account this, first you have to complete the transaction. Okay, you have to complete the transaction. Now you can see the status of this transaction is incomplete. In payables, once you create that invoice, we have to validate. If you validate, you can make the payment or you can create accounting entries against that invoice. The same way in receivables, when you create the transaction, if it is incomplete, no use at all. You cannot receive any payment against this and you cannot create any accounting entries. So any transaction, if you want to update that balances, okay, say this $1,000, this $5,000, if you want to update against this customer, this transaction should be completed. Then only these balances will get updated against this customer account. So what we have to do is, you can click on drop down, say complete and review. Click on complete, the status will turn into complete. Now completed, and you can see the transaction number. In this transaction source, for this transaction type, the first number should be 1. Number should start from 1, that's what we given according to generated number. Okay, this is how you can create the transaction, you can complete, and you can submit this. Once it is complete, you can submit this invoice for, transaction for accounting. Go to actions, say post to ledger. It creates accounting entries, real accounting. It will transfer to general ledger. It will post in the general ledger. Let's see that. Say post to ledger. If you want to create accounting for multiple invoices in the payables and multiple payments in the payables, we submitted create accounting process. Here also the same is applicable. Okay. To create accounting entries for multiple transactions and receipts in one go, you can submit create accounting job. It will create accounting for transactions and receipts and receivables. I will go to see the accounting entry. The receivables account is debit, revenue account is credit. Just remember this accounting entry. So when you create the transaction, what is the accounting entry? Receivables debit and revenue credit. It's the default accounting entry. And same as the payables, here also you can override that. Okay. Now just created accounting and it transferred to GL and posted also. Now you identified some mistake in this. Okay, you can overwrite it. Now you can go and find the same accounting entry, the form of journal in the GL. Go to GL, journals, manage journals. Select source as the receivables. Okay, search. So sales invoice. One sales invoice is created in the receivables. Whatever we created just now, that is sales invoice. Okay, with how much amount? 5. It is coming from receivables and category is sales invoice. We can open this. So being a receivables user, GL user, you can drill down to receivables. If you want to check who's the customer, what is the transaction number, etc., you can click on amount against any one of the line. Here you can expand. It is showing the customer name. Okay. Customer number, business unit, by using which transaction source we created this transaction, by using which transaction type, on which date invoice created, what is invoice number. Okay, this belongs to which legal entity. All details you can see. Still, if you want to see the complete transaction, click on view transaction. You can have access to read only mode. You can see the data. You cannot modify anything. Okay, just click on view transaction so that this with invoice number, whatever the transaction we have as a one, the transaction complete information you can see. So this is how transaction is created in the receivables. EU, source, type, number, status is complete. So item is iPhone, quantity 5. You can see all these details. This is how you can drill down from GL to receivables. Already we have seen how to drill down from GL to payables. The similar way you can drill down to receivables also. So this is how you can create the transaction in receivables. Say you received payment from the customer. You create a transaction. We'll just go back to that and we'll discuss few parts. Billing. Go to task list. Click on manage transactions. Select PU. The transaction number is 1. Find out. So click on transaction number. Okay, click on transaction number. Now here go to actions. So anytime if you want to see accounting, you can see from here. Okay, in case of payables, if you click on status, it shows view accounting and all. From there you can see. Anytime if you want to see accounting, from here you can see. And if you want to override any account code combination, you can do from here. Okay, done. Now other point here is click on this view image. Just wait for a second. So this is how you can print this transaction. At the time of transaction type creation, we given print option as yes. So that is the reason it is showing this view image, otherwise it won't show. Okay, now you can print this. The printer is configured with this, you can print this. Okay, we don't have any printer configuration. So reality, the technical people will modify this logo and alignment also. Okay, these alignments also. For payables, we navigated to payables and we selected payments and we could see all the formats in the last session, yesterday session. In the same way, receivables formats also can be identified by following the same navigation. You have to go to receivables. You have to select the billing related formats what Oracle is providing. We can find there. The technical people with XML publisher, they can modify these alignments. Okay, so so this is what we have to understand.
Mr. Lakshman, I have a doubt here.
Direct question, please.
Yeah, you said override accounting. Even after posting to GL, can we do that overriding?
Sorry.
No, we had a functionality you have shown us just override accounting.
Do you remember we discussed and we tested in payables?
Yes.
Yeah, same, no difference. Now, what is your question?
Even after, no, my question is even after posting to GL, can you modify these entries?
These entries, no, you cannot modify. See, once it is posted, you cannot do any changes.
Okay, that's all.
Yeah. Even if any transaction before posting, it is not at all recommended to change. If you change, it will mismatch. Okay. You should not do any changes in GL. You should not touch. Yeah. Right. So this is what printing option. Okay. Done. Say now customer paid. When customer has to pay, this is the due date because we are using immediate payment terms. Today customer has to pay. Say customer paid. Now we have to create the receipt. The receipt we have to apply on this transaction number one. Let's see how to create the receipt, how to apply that receipt on this transaction. Close this page. Okay, we'll see how to create the receipt. Go to navigator. Under receivables, we have a task called as accounts receivable. So this is nothing but receipt workbench. This is for billing, this is for receipts. Click on accounts receivable. Go to task list. Since this user got access to multiple BUs, you could see some other details also. If you don't want to see those, you can select your BU here. So that our BU related information it will display. See now nothing is displaying here. Now go to task list. So create receipt. Okay, click on create receipt. Fine. Now system is defaulting Amex US business unit. Okay, many BUs access this user guard because of application implementation consultant role, but system is displaying only Amex US business unit because of the profile option whatever we set for this user. Now, how you are receiving the payment you have to specify. We created receipt class and method, right? Same method you can select here. What method we created? Amex check. Within the receipt class, we created receipt method as Amex check. Okay, through check you are receiving the payment. Enter receipt number. The receipt number is nothing but check number. You have to enter the check number. Say you are receiving the payment from the customer with this check number. Okay, within the receipt number field, you have to enter the check number. So how much amount you are receiving? You received 5,000 check. Okay. From which customer you received this 5,000? That you have to select here. Amex. Use tab. From this customer we received this 5,000. This check. From which site of that customer? This is. Done. Okay, now we create our receipt. Now this receipt we can apply on the transaction number 1 so that balances will be closed. Now go to actions, say submit and apply manual. Now click on add open receivables. Open receivables nothing but outstanding transactions. Whatever customer has to pay, that we call as open receivable. Now we can find out outstanding transactions. We have only one outstanding transaction with 5,000. Now we have receipt ready with 5,000. This receipt you can apply on the transaction so that that transaction will be closed. Open transaction means outstanding. Once you apply the receipt, the transaction will be closed. That means no due against the transaction. So click on add open receivables. So receipt reference number is transaction number. Here receipt match by. How you want to find out the receipt. Okay, how you want to match the receipt. Receipt we want to apply the transaction by searching with the transaction number. So in the receipt reference number field, you can enter the transaction number. You want to find out the transaction 1 to apply the current receipt. Okay, below system is defaulting the customer details is taken from the receipt. Now click on search. Okay, we have a transaction. Fine. With these details, we have a transaction. Now you can select this record, click on add. Click on done. Okay. So we create a receipt with 5,000 and total applied amount is 5,000. 5,000 we are applying on this transaction. Now against the transaction 1, what is the due amount? 0. Transaction amount is 5,000. Receipt also we received 5,000 we created, we applied. There is no due amount. Okay. Now save and close.
If they pay the partial amount, then what is the case?
You enter partial amount only here, not 5,000. Okay, here receipt only will create with the 5,000. Maybe 3,000 you apply, 3 will be applied, remaining due would be 2. That's all.
I mean, we need to create the receipt also with less amount.
That's all. Whatever amount you are receiving, you have to create as how much you receive. Doesn't matter how much transaction amount we have. The transaction
If
maybe
the transaction amount,
customer paid only 2,000. Customer paid 2,000, you can apply 2,000 only. Now create receipt with the 2,000. Apply 2,000 on the 10,000 transaction. So after applying 2,000, 2,000 will be reduced. Still you can see 8,000 as a due against the transaction. That's what we have.
okay.
Yeah. Now go.
Acha, Mr. Lakshman, don't you enter the receiving check details?
Sorry?
Don't you enter the receiving check details? Like which bank the check belongs to and the check number?
We enter check number.
That is the receipt number, right?
Receipt number field only we have to enter. There is no separate field Oracle is providing. Okay. How do you do in EBS?
Okay. No, I'm not belong to EBS.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Yeah, that's what. So we Oracle is not providing the separate field. So in the receipt number field only, we'll just do that. With the form personalization, page personalization, the most of the implementation, the field name also, the label name also will be changed from receipt number to check number. Display also we have to change. Otherwise, they can keep as it is, and that is only the field where we enter the number. And we don't enter like from which customer bank we received and all, those are not required. Number is there directly that you can remit that receipt to the bank, means check to the bank and we'll go for clearing and all.
Lakshman, one question, please.
Yeah. Please.
Yeah, when you create the transaction, in my current project, I'm working on receivable. So we did the conversion that we have to validate the text data and the transaction data. So when I was trying to create a new transactions, if you can go to the transaction form, I can tell you. So if it is an incomplete status, any transaction,
We'll discuss these points and maybe in the end of the session if it is related to your project, etc. We'll talk on that. Yeah,
okay, sure.
please.
A receipt can be created independent of the transaction.
Yeah, independent or one receipt can be applied on multiple transactions also. So you have a 3 transactions, 1,000. Customer paid for 3 transactions in one go. You receive one receipt, one payment. You can create receipt the 3,000, the same 3,000 receipt you can apply on those 3 transactions. Or else you have one transaction with 10,000. Customer paid 2,000. Create receipt and apply on the transaction. Again, customer paid 1,000. Create receipt and apply on the same. Again, customer paid 1,000. That means you can apply multiple receipts on one transaction. That is a one point. Other point is one receipt can be applied on multiple transactions. Go to actions here. View balance details. You can see original amount of this transaction is 5,000. Receipts applied 5,000. Now balance is 0. Before applying the receipt, you can see balance as a 5,000. Okay, that means due amount. Now there is no due against this transaction. This is how you can check. Why? Original amount is 5,000. Receipts applied. Receipts created with 5,000. This is how you can verify at this transaction creation. I will see how to create the debit memo and the credit memos in the receivables application. Okay. So to test this, first we'll create one transaction. Already we have transaction, but we applied the receipt. Now we'll create one transaction, maybe with $10,000. We'll create one credit memo minus 2,000. Okay, we'll say this. Create transaction with the $10,000. Test that. Go to task list, create transaction. Transaction source is Amex invoice. Transaction customer is, we are billing to Amex customer 1. So we are billing for the item called as iPhone. Use tab, it will fetch. How much quantity? 10 quantity. Unit price is 1,000. Total transaction amount is 10,000. You can say complete and close. It will allocate the number as a 2 for this transaction. For the first one, it allocated number as 1. This is going to be second transaction. So it will complete, will update the status as a complete, and it will assign the number as per the transaction source. It is jumping the number. Ideally, it should come 2. In some instances, there is some issue like it is jumping the number. This is a number it is generating. 1001 it generated. Now we'll create one credit memo with 2,000. Number is 1001. Let's see how to create the credit memo. Go to task list, create transaction. So what we are going to create? Credit memo. So far what we created, those are the invoices. Now we are going to create credit memo. So select transaction class as credit memo. Now select credit memo transaction source. Amex credit memo transaction source. Customer. Here you can say maybe correction, or you can enter item also. Accordingly, you can specify. Say quantity 2 minus 1000. Okay, minus 2000 total. Now say complete and close. Complete and review. Anything you can select. Fine. So for credit memo, we give a number should start from 101. The same system is picking. Now this is the transaction we have. Now you can, this transaction, this credit memo you want to apply on the transaction. Okay, just close this page. Status is complete. Number is this. Go to accounts receivable. Go to task list. Here you can see manage credit memo applications. Click on this task. Select business unit. Okay. So what is our credit memo number? 101. So this credit memo we want to apply on transaction number what? 1001. So select this transaction, credit memo transaction. Click on edit or click on transaction number. Now apply this credit memo on transaction. Click on add open receivables. You want to apply on which transaction? 1001 transaction. Search. Okay, we have transaction with 10,000. Select. Done. Now 2000 credit memo we applied on the transaction number 1001, and now the due amount against the transaction is $8,000. So this is how you can correct transaction amount by using the credit memo. So when you talk about receipt, we have to apply up to 8,000 only. When you look at this transaction, you can see due amount as a 8,000 only. You can just go to billing. You can find out the transaction. Transaction number is 1001. So open this transaction. Go to actions. Say view balance details. The original transaction amount is 10,000. The credit memos are created, 2,000. Now the balance due amount is 8,000. Now say customer paid like 8,000 and you can create receipt with 8,000. The same you can apply, or else it may be partial receipt. So what are the reasons we create the credit memo in the receivables? With any reason. With any reason, if you want to reduce the transaction amount, only one and only option is credit memo. Okay. It may be you bill the customer by mistake, wrong amount. Okay. So, or else it may be returns from the customer. You just bill to the customer and you ship that material to customer because of quality issues, customer returned. In that case, you want to reduce the transaction amount. Whatever it may be the business scenario, if you want to reduce the transaction amount with any reason, we use credit memo. That's all. Payables, we have debit and credit memos. Both we use to reduce, but purposes are different. Already we discussed. Debit memo we have to create, okay, to reduce the amounts in case of purchase returns. Credit memo other than purchase returns. But in the receivables, the credit memo we create for any reason if you want to reduce the transaction amounts. Now we reduce 2,000 from the 10,000 transaction by creating the manual credit memo. Means we entered the details for credit memo. If you don't want to enter the details like credit type as a credit memo, source as a Amex credit memo, selecting the customer, okay, so entering the line information, etc. If you don't want to enter all these, still if you want to create the credit memo, you can create. That is nothing but few inputs we have to provide. Rest system will take it. That you can say automatic credit memo. Okay. Now the credit memo, whatever we created, that is manual credit. Manual credit memo transaction creation. Just now we have seen. I will see how to create the automatic credit memo. Okay, by providing few inputs, system will create. Let's see that. Say we want to reduce one more 1,000 from this 10,000. Want to reduce one more 1,000 by creating credit. So credit memo, however we created just now, same process you can follow, or else a very simple process is automatic. How we can do that, we'll go and see. From the same transaction, we want to reduce one more 1,000. This is our requirement. How to do that, we'll see. Go to task list. Here we have a task called as credit transaction. Click on credit transaction. We want to reduce $1,000 from which transaction? From 1001 transaction, we want to reduce 1,000. So find out this transaction first. Search. Many customers. Better select transaction source. This is a transaction. From this we want to reduce $1,000. Say okay. It will fetch the details. Okay. With this transaction is available in the system with this business unit, customer, and original amount is 10,000. There is some activity. We discussed everything what we create activities only, but few we create as a receivable activities. Now there is some activity. What is the activity? You create a credit memo. The 2,000. The current balance against this transaction is 8,000 only. Now how much you want to reduce? You want to reduce 1,000. When you reduce 1,000, with 1,000 it has to create the credit memo. When system is going to create credit memo, it has to use which source and which type you have to specify here. It has to use, since system will create the credit memo with 1,000, it has to use credit memo source and type. Now here you can enter the amount in percentage or the like how much amount directly you can enter, or you can enter the percentage. Accordingly, it will reduce. Now the current remaining balance of the transaction is 8,000. You can enter percentage. If you enter percentage, the percentage system will calculate on this. If I give 10%, 10% it will calculate on the original amount, 10,000. 10% on 10,000 means 1,000. It will reduce 1,000 from this. Or else directly I can enter the amount here. Enter amount minus 1,000. It is equal to 10% on this. That's what system is taking. You can enter percentage or amount. Now the remaining balance would be 7,000. With this 1,000, whatever I am entering, system will create the credit memo automatically. It will adjust. Okay. Now you can say complete and review. Now automatically system will create the credit memo with $1,000. Okay. So done. It's completed. So with these details, it created credit memo copied from the original transaction. Okay. So you see here, the credit memo number is 1002. Sorry, 102. This is a credit memo created with 1,000. Against which transfer created 1001. This is a credit memo. See, created credit memo. Now, if you go to this transaction, you can find like 7,000 is due. As one here, already we created one credit memo 1,000. Now, system created one more. Now, the due amount would be 7,000. Created and it is displaying immediately since we selected complete and do review. Done. Now, say you received payment from customer. So since we reduced 3,000, you may receive 7,000, or you may receive the partial amount. Say customer has to pay still 7,000. Say customer paid just 2,000. Just with the 2,000 also you can create a receipt and you can apply. Still 5,000 will be due. You can go to account receivable. As of now, customer paid only 2,000. Create receipt with the 2,000. How we received the payment? Say through check. The check number you have to enter here. How much we received? Just 2,000. From which customer we received? How much? Just type and do. Use tab, it will fetch site details. Say submit and apply. Okay, we received 2,000 from this customer with this check number. Now click on add open receivables. You want to apply this 2,000 on which transaction? Transaction number you can provide 1001. Right. Yes. Click on search. Select. Say add. Done. The due amount is 7. We are applying 2,000 now. Remaining due amount is 5,000. Even partial receipts also we can apply. Or else in this receipt 2,000 customer paid, but customer is paying here only 1,000 for this transaction. Okay, still there will be 1,000 in the receipt only. paid 2000 customer, but only 1000 you want to apply on this transaction. One only you are applying, still 6000 due, remaining $1000. This you may apply another transaction. Okay, you can apply another transaction. You can keep this as this, and later once another transaction is available, you can open the same receipt, and this 1000 you can apply on the transaction also. This is how you can manage. We are applying total receipt amount on this transaction. The due amount is 1000. This is how you can create partial receipts and you can apply. The debit memo same as invoice transaction. Okay, it's very simple. Say we have to create transaction with 10,000, but by mistake we create transaction with 9,000 only. Later we realize the transaction amount should be 10,000, but we create with 9,000. You bill to the customer. Now you want to add one more 1,000 to existing transaction. Then you can create the debit memo. Reality system won't add. Okay, to represent the purpose, it is like addition only. You have to use the debit memo. Okay, just you have to use the debit memo. That's all. There is no other kind of functionality with the debit memo. So ideally, whenever you want to bill to the customer, you can use the invoice transaction, and sometimes you may just want to add some additional amount to existing invoices you already billed, and you want to add some additional details, additional amount to already built related information. Then you can create the debit memo. In the debit memo, you can include how much amount you want to add, and you can print and you can send to the customer. So I will take this case only. Customer paid, your due amount is 7, right? Again, customer paid now 2,000. Okay, how much due we have? 5,000 due. Okay, 5,000 due amount we have. So now you want to add one more 1,000 to this transaction. Okay. Since we applied credit memos and the receipts, the transaction amounts you cannot update. Go to billing. So after completing the transaction, you can incomplete if no receipts are applied and no credit memos are created on the transaction. Once you create the receipts against the once you apply the receipts on transaction, or once you create the credit memos against the transaction, here incomplete tab is grayed out. If it is enabled, you can click on incomplete and you can change the information. Okay, so once you apply the receipts or once you create the credit memos against the transaction, amounts cannot be updated. Any information cannot be updated. You can notice this point. Now our requirement is we want to add some amount to this existing transaction. For that, we are going to create the debit memo. Done. Go to task list, say create transaction. Just for addition purpose, to add amount, we are going to create. So select debit memo. Select source as debit memo. Same as invoice transaction. Customer is Amex. enter line information. You forgot to bill to the customer for one quantity. Now that you are billing. Okay, say you have to bill 11 quantity, but you bill for 10 quantity only. Now you realize that one more quantity you delivered, billing is missing. That you want to add as addition. Okay. Now go to show more. Go to show more. Here go to miscellaneous. Here you can enter a cross reference number. This debit memo you are creating, okay, as additional billing amount by referring which transaction. That's all. In EBS, we can find out existing transactions, but in the Fusion, they made this cross reference field as a dynamic. You can enter. That's all. You cannot select any existing transactions to refer. So this is all just you can provide by looking at this debit memo. You can understand this additional 1,000 what we added, that is belongs to this bill only. That means in that bill that is missing, now we are adding. This sort of reference you can provide, otherwise there is no functionality, separate functionality behind it. This is how you can just add, and you can say completed review or completed close. Anything. Okay, this is how we can use the debit memo functionality. Same as a transaction, but by providing some reference, you can add amounts by using the debit memo transaction. That's all. So say customer paid. Customer paid total on this transaction how much due? 5,000. Now credit memo also, debit memo also you created with 1,000. Total 6,000. Right? Against this 5,000 is due, and in this transaction 1,000 is missing. That is the reason you created debit memo. Debit memo number is 1. This 1,000 done to that 5,000 total, say customer paid 6,000. Now we'll see how to create the receipt with the 6,000. How the receipt can be applied on this standard invoice, meant to say like sales invoice and debit memo transaction. Now say customer paid 6,000. How to apply that 6,000 on this two transactions? Go to accounts receivable. Go to task list. So create receipt. Enter check number. How much we received? 6,000 we received from customer. From which customer we received? Enter the customer details. And from which site we received of that customer? Also site. Now say submit and apply. Click on add open receivables. Okay. So now I can search with the customer all open transactions, it will display. Search. It is displaying only 1,001. So here only 5,000 due, but we received 6,000. There is one debit memo. Okay. If you want to find out the debit memo transactions also, when you are searching, we have to enable it. Just click on add open receivables. Expand the search criteria. You click on search with this customer, what are the outstanding transactions we have, it will display. It never display any debit and credit memos. If you have a debit memos, if you want to see, you have to enable include debit memos. Okay, include debit memos. Now search. Along with the standard, along with invoice, debit memos also system will display. Click on search. Now debit memo also coming. Now you can apply the 6,000 on this two transactions. From 6,000, 5,000 on this 1001 transaction, 1,000 on the debit memo. Select, add, select debit memo and click on add. Say done. So we apply total 6,000 on these two transactions, 1 and 1001. Say save and close. So this is how you can apply receipt on debit memo also. Okay. Now we'll see how to create the transaction with the memo lines. Instead of selecting item, you can select memo line. That's how you can create. Let's see. We'll just complete this and we can wind up further. Go to billing. Go to task list. Say create transaction. Same process. Okay, we are going to create the invoice transaction. So transaction source is Amex invoice and customer details. Okay, if you are selling the item, you can select item here. We are not selling item. Say we are providing some training to the customer. So select memo line here. We created memo line as a Amex Oracle Fusion training, right? That should be here. Right, it's not coming. We'll go to that memo lines definition and we'll check because we saved it. Okay, standard memo lines is the task. You can't go to task icon. You create with the Amex, right? Wait, it's not available. We forgot to save or what? Maybe. Let's create. This is the name we given. That you can include training, etc. With this, you can assign to RBU. Search criteria you can change to start with search, select, save, okay, save, okay. Just save and close. We'll check now. It's available. Okay, one standard memo line we created. Now we can go and create the transaction with that memo line. Go to billing. As a part of setups also we created, but somehow it is not saved. So create transaction. Amex invoice is the transaction source. Customer is Amex customer 1. So we are not selling any items to the customer. Say we are providing some service. So that you can select memo line. Amex Vision Financial Retrain. It is filling the same as the description. Now item selection is not required. So you can enter quantity and price. The rest of process as it is, no difference. Just instead of selecting item, okay, you can select the memo line. The transaction number is 2. Now it is generating normal number. And instead of selecting the transaction,
Memo line is nothing but any service instead of item. It is like service.
yes, correct, service only.
Like first we create item. Like that only we have to create the standard memo line in order to use in the transaction.
Correct, you are right.
Am I clear?
Yes. So if you don't want to include item or service, if you want to include anything, directly you can write some test over. Okay. So you don't want to enter item, you don't want to just specify anything, just here you can write anything. Okay. Then you can enter the transaction. No item, no memo line. You can provide description. Okay. This is how you can proceed out. Now transaction number 3. So this is how you can create invoice transaction through manual process. Manual debit memo also we tested. Automatic debit memo, how system will create, we have seen that. And credit memo. These two are credit memos, and how we can create the debit memo to add amount to existing transaction. Reality system is not adding. Purpose we are discussing about. And how to create the transaction with a memo line, that also we have seen. Okay. So in tomorrow's session we'll see how to create the chargeback standard receipt. Whatever we created today, that is a standard receipt only. Done with this. And we created all this. In tomorrow's session we'll see how to create the chargeback. What does it mean by on-account receipt? How to create miscellaneous receipts? How to create multiple receipts through batch? And how to reverse the receipts, in which scenario we have to reverse, how it will impact the reversal activity on existing transactions. Okay, there are 2 types of reversal, standard and debit memo. And then we'll proceed with these concepts. Else we'll proceed with the API netting. We'll discuss one by one, we'll discuss, and accordingly we can test in the system. If any additional setups required, we'll do it. Or else directly we can test based on the basic setup. Anyway, we'll just continue from here in tomorrow's session. Any questions? We're done for today. If you have any questions, you can stay back. Thank you.
Payon receipts in the payables
Lakshman sir,
is not reflecting in the invoices. I mean, it is not creating the invoice automatically. And the receipt number which I given also, it is not reflecting in the invoice, which when I create invoice with the PO and receipt number. But it is showing the received as same quantity. Like if I given purchase order is 3, I'm giving 3 as received, it is showing as 3, but it's not giving the receipt number. in the invoice.
Invoice where invoice number where it's creating invoice on the payables based on the receipt.
Yeah, it is creating the, I mean, if I suppose the receipt number is 101 something like that and receipt items are 4, it is showing the received as 4 in the source, but it is not giving the receipt number in the invoice when I'm trying to create manually invoice with the PO and the receipt number.
It won't
And
show
pay on
any
receipt is
PO.
also not working.
It won't show any PO number and all. During that matching only it will show if you are creating through manual matching. Otherwise it won't display. It will show PO number only. Once you create.
It is showing only PO, but it is not showing the receipt. I don't know why it is not showing the receipt number.
It won't show receipt. That totally depends on which receipt routing method you selected. You routing method based on that you'll select match option, right? If you select invoice match option as a PO, yes, it will show the PO is enough to create invoice. If you select receipt,
Okay.
receipt is mandatory. Otherwise, you cannot find that PO also to create the invoice.
So
Check
when
it.
we are creating the PO, we have to give the match option as receipt.
Yes, yes. If you give receipt, then receipt is required when to create invoice. It will show receipt number. And when even if you have a receipt, it is not showing receipt number means PO level you selected only PO only for invoice match option. Yeah.
Okay.
Now you
But for
receipt
pay
is
on
not
receipt
required.
is all.
It's your process. That is the reason it is not displayed.
Even the pay on receipt also, I have created the receipt with the PO, and I have run that schedule process, but it is not automatically creating the invoice with that receipt.
See, you have to create the PO. First, you have to do the setup at supplier site level, right?
Yeah, I have did the setup in the supply site level.
You have to create the receipt PO against that same site, and you have to create the receipt. After that, you have to run that process.
Yes, I did the same thing, but I am not getting that one.
You did
I
mistakes.
tried many times.
That's the reason you are not getting. We will see that. Okay. Let me take others questions.
Okay.
You told me like you're going to share a PPM document for more understanding. So is that possible to
Yeah,
share?
I forgot that. I'll place in the drive for you. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
So Lakshman, as I discuss my current project, I'm working on AR. So we have the data transaction happen like conversion of all the customers, and basically the main purpose is we are working on that tax configuration like we tried in EBS. As per discussion with the customer, we have to move to Fusion. Now I was testing and comparing EBS and the Fusion data. So I found one thing very vague. Like when I try to complete any transaction in Fusion, when I click the button, click complete and save, it just creates the number and it goes away. So is that the standard functionality, or I have to go with the
I didn't
external?
understand. When you click on complete, what system is doing, what you are expecting, what system is doing.
System is generating the transaction number,
Okay.
and it
You trigger based on the transaction source. Yes.
from incomplete status it become complete. So my question
Yeah.
is when I
By
try
default, it will be
multiple
complete
things,
only. It will turn
so
into complete and it is generating number. That is expected functionality only. Yeah, what is it?
that's correct. Because I'm comparing with EBS also the converted data, and
Okay.
particular in this scenario, I have tax data. So the
Okay.
tax lines, when I one thing is one separate question is when I click the complete, then only the tax line generates. I
Yes.
guess that's a setup, right?
Correct.
You can set the
You have a
options.
setup, it will validate. If it is applicable, it will calculate and it will add the line. Yes.
Okay. Now, so is there any way we can, I mean, every time I have to go and manage that search by business unit and or transaction number or customer number. Three options are there. Instead of that, we can because when I the moment I complete it, the data from incomplete to it become complete. So when I want to validate, I'm not able to set that. So is there the only way to
Yeah.
the manner?
That is only the way ideally. Just see, because we create one by one transaction as per receivables functionality. We have to bill separately, right?
Yes.
So, like validating in payables, you can run the process. Okay. Payables invoice
To
validation job you can run. It will validate all. Never validated. It will give you attempt of validating the invoices and the payables in the same way. Just we don't have something to complete it. It has to be done through manual process.
Okay, thanks. I mean, just to add, Lakshman,
Yeah.
I guess you have not uploaded yesterday's video, and I'm begging you for the AR dump. I'm going to try for the take the test.
Sorry. I'll do that. Okay.
I know you must be busy, but that's why I sent an email also, I think 2 days back.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll do that. But you attended yesterday's session, right?
Yeah, I take notes, but usually for my practice, I usually,
Oh, okay.
try
You depend on the video
videos
only.
side by.
Oh, got
Yeah,
it.
sometimes I forget means I follow the video and then
Correct.
test it.
That's true. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'll make sure that I'll place immediately on the same day. That right. Yeah.
No, only yesterday was missed. I mean, day before yesterday you uploaded today. I saw.
Yeah.
I mean, I have downloaded. Usually I download it to my laptop and then I work on that. That's easy.
Okay. I'll do that. Yeah. I'll do after this session. Maybe after 5-10 minutes, you can see that.
Thank you, Lakshman. I appreciate it.
Thank you.